and he won the teen division, and they gave him a giant check. I
Nice.
think I was more excited about the fact, like, they give him money, but I was more excited about the fact, wow, I think you're the first one of the Hannah kids to win a giant check. That's awesome.
Check.
Yeah.
I've never gotten a giant check.
I
Lord
know,
knows
right?
I've tried.
I was jealous. Not gonna lie, not of the money, just the giant check.
I thought
Little-
I thought us at the Gong Show would have fucking won something for our Hans and Franz.
Nice.
All right. I think we're good to start, huh, guys? We don't.
Yeah, I think so. We
Just
don't. I mean,
all
I don't even
shown
have to
us
write
this
down
time.
titles. It's
Yeah.
gonna be
And
nice.
I need to stop this because I can't concentrate with my Python blaring in my ears.
Yeah.
Close that. Close that. Did I have that audio issue again?
No, it was weird. It was nice and clean.
Sweet.
So I don't know. Gnomes, space rays.
Possible. One thing Scott pointed out when we were doing
Solar flares.
the recap.
Yeah.
He and I don't notice it because it's like just right here. I have a clock up on my wall.
Mm-hmm.
Before we did the recap, he's like, "I can hear your clock." I was like, "Oh yeah, I should probably
Interesting.
yeah." Let me pull the battery out of that guy.
Weird.
Yeah.
Welcome to TVGP, the most maddening podcast of all time.
Yep. All right. Ready to start, gents?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, Boston. We're going around the room. We got Knobs
What's up?
and the Hannah.
Hey.
And as we do every year, we're just going to talk about E3. This year is 2014. So
Yes, it is.
we're going to talk about this year's E3. We decided not to go back to last year's because,
Yeah. You know.
you already have a PS4,
Well,
Yeah. You should have a
two out
PS4.
of two out of three TVGP hosts
Yeah.
have a PS.
2 out of 3 recommend PS4.
Actually, I think Knobs, even without owning one, has recommended it. So
That's true.
I have. I've even gotten people to buy them.
Go figure.
Oh man!
All right,
it's
so
a gift.
a few quick notes here. If you've never listened to one of our E3 episodes, we just talk about E3. We're not doing releases, what you've been playing, emails, none of that biz. So we'll save all that for tomorrow, or next week, I should say.
Tomorrow.
yeah, no, that's
It's been a
fine.
long day. We have a different layout this year. So in previous years, and I haven't been very happy with it, we sort of talked about all the big three, and we talked about the other press conferences. So this year we're just going to go in chronological order throughout Monday and Tuesday.
Yep.
We're going to miss stuff. We always do.
Yeah.
This isn't really a comprehensive list, and your favorite game we probably aren't going to talk about that much. I apologize in advance. Sorry. And as always, our comments are reflective of ourselves personally and not of our respective companies. So please, don't sue us. Moving on. Let's get right into the deep end with Microsoft, who surprisingly opened with Call of Duty, which is usually the closer.
Yeah,
Yep.
they started strong this year.
Yeah, kind of a crazy, so they're showing off Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. All the notes I wrote down were, you lost your arm? Titanfall?
Yeah.
So
Pretty close.
kind of what I got. It looks super good.
Yeah, I liked how they hung a hat on the dude got his arm caught in the door and it's like, "No, you go."
Yeah.
And hey, guess whose arm got lost? Not his.
Aye.
Yeah, there you go. We'll switch up.
But hey, anytime you got Kevin Spacey in a game, you got to lead with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you not show the space? I don't know. That gameplay really made me wish I liked the Call of Duty games more, because that seems like a really great Call of Duty game.
It really does. It looks like Halo. Am I the only one that
Little
saw
bit.
that? It
Yeah.
looks really Halo-esque, I would have to say.
I don't know so much, but it looks significantly different than most Call of Duty games.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And it's the one. It's as different as Modern Warfare was, and why that
everything
game
else.
was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
So-
I mean, the thing that really caught my eye, I was watching it, it seemed okay up until the point where they had like those that swarm of whatevers
Yeah.
flying
Oh,
around.
the
I was like,
drones.
oh,
Those.
okay.
Yeah,
This is all right. Well, this is different. Okay, it's not
I
just
like
Call of
that.
Duty plus mechs.
Yeah, which actually I would sort of be okay with.
It would still do well.
Yeah,
You know, I
like
was
this.
talking about this at work actually, and somebody was like, "I don't understand why they would put mechs in Call of Duty." I said,
Why not?
either way they win. So if
Yeah,
Titanfall wouldn't have sold well, which it really didn't, they would have said, "Well, they tried, but we're gonna do mechs right." And if Titanfall sold really well, they're like, "Well, we have mechs too, so
yeah.
keep playing mechs in the game you love."
Which I hope that's the next big thing. Like, I hope zombies go by the wayside and everyone's just like, you know what's awesome? Mechs.
Yeah, you want to keep making
Well-
cool. As a dude who was just playing the Destiny alpha with his fiance for the last 2 days, I like
Nice.
mechs a lot.
They are cool. Mechs are one of those things that's a multiplier. You put mechs in a game, and everyone gives it a second look that normally wouldn't.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Absolutely.
It's one of those cool things, like a BFG.
This
Yeah.
felt like this Call of Duty felt like the Call of Duty that you jump on the bandwagon at. Like, this isn't like just another entry in the series.
Yeah, it's one of them where it's like, man, maybe I'll give it a shot. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Next up was Forza 5. Nürburgring is out for Forza 5 right now for free.
Cool. Yeah, I didn't know how to pronounce that, so thanks.
Yes, it's
Oh,
surprisingly
it's-
literal.
it's that legendary ring.
Yeah.
That thing. Ever since Project Gotham 2 was like I think the first game to have the full ring in it.
The full, like, 17 miles?
Yeah.
Something like that?
So, where does this exist in real? I'm not terribly familiar
Germany,
with this.
I believe.
Germany.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Judging by the language and the fact that it's fast
It
cars.
has an umlaut.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, if you're still playing Forza 5, go grab that thing. They showed another teaser trailer for Forza Horizon 2. That still looks super good.
Yeah, it does.
I'm a little more concerned because they've been talking more about Drivatar being in it, so
Yeah.
kind of concerned about that.
Pick your friends better.
Yeah, exactly. I just got to flush out my friends list. There's 0 friends online.
You're too good.
You play
You're too
you play
good.
Forza, gone.
Yeah, unless you're kind of mid-range Forza. If you're too good, you're gone. If you're too bad, you're gone. Next up, they showed a little bit of Evolve. Just kind
Yeah,
of
they
a short gameplay / something CG trailer. That looks great.
That
looks
monster
phenomenal.
looks insane.
Yeah.
It's
Oh.
Land Cthulhu, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And it
It
almost
is-
looks like the giant monster statue they have on the floor is different too. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping they have multiple monsters.
That seems to be the case from some of the concept art and stuff I've seen. That there's at least 2 or 3 different monsters. I'm sure that will be DLC.
Yeah,
New
I mean,
monsters, new not classes, but new characters for each class.
yeah,
I mean, even if they have, there has to be some sort of tree like branching past to get which one apex monster you end up being
Yeah.
through the course of the game. But that thing when it was like dropping the tentacle hammers with lightning, I mean, holy crap!
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think over the life of the show, I think we've talked a lot about Left 4 Dead 1 was good. Left 4 Dead 2 was they smoothed out the edges, and then kind of where do you go after that? And I guess this is it.
This is clearly where you go after that.
Yeah.
And the
I
fact
almost-
that thing's player controlled is a game changer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, so good.
Next up, they showed Assassin's Creed Unity. They showed a gameplay
Yeah, they
demo
did.
and announced the co-op story stuff. So they're still kind of clarifying how much you play co-op. They're still saying, well, there's some single player, there's some co-op.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's not really a completely separate mode. It's not like you have single player and then you have co-op. So
Yeah.
waiting for them to kind of clarify. I'm buying it either way, so I don't really care.
Well, yeah. Come on.
I think out of all of them, I think this one I might throw my hat back in it because the French Revolution stuff is so cool.
Well, they showed a lot of
Yeah.
cool stuff during these gameplay demos. A lot better traversal, especially going down buildings.
Yes.
They're kind of spinning and flipping over stuff, and it seems a lot better than you're just staring at this dude's back in this building and you're just holding circle to fall off of this thing. Or what I thought was really interesting in an interview with one of the producers, someone asked him, "Is like why are you improving the traversal through this?" And they said, we're really sick of having hay bales everywhere. Like, it just doesn't make any sense in
Yeah.
French Revolution times.
Yeah, it really
Like,
doesn't.
You're not going to see this dude fall off this building and be like, oh, I didn't see anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, plus, like, the one thing I always thought was kind of funny, well, I found it comical in playing Assassin's Creed games. You get on top of the building, it's like, how the hell do I get down?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And it's just,
I usually just gave up and jumped. Like,
Yeah.
this might kill me, this might not. Let's find
I'm going
out.
to jump, I'm going to hold circle, and hopefully there's a ledge somewhere that's not going to rip my arm off.
Yeah.
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 The biggest issue I had with some of the more modern Assassin's Creed is, like, in the first one, you had to be very deliberate with how you approached a building and how you climbed it and stuff. In everything, pretty much after that, it's just sort of been, all right, you will stick to anything.
Yeah.
You will attempt to run up anything. If you get anywhere near some sort of obstacle, you'll get up there.
It's Spider-Man without the webs.
Pretty much,
Yeah.
yeah. That's what it felt like, but it got really annoying when you're trying to just run down the street.
Yeah. Well, they
Yeah, well, railing.
Yeah.
they were talking a little bit more about the mission sort of layout now. They've completely changed it. Seemingly because everybody, including myself, is sick of tail these guys' missions.
Oh, yeah, I saw this.
Yeah, so they gave a sort of a description about, hey, go figure out where this dude is so that you can get this info. And either you can tail him like normal and just follow him around, or you can just kind of wait for him to get to his location and scout it out. Or
Yeah.
if he gets killed along the way, or you kill him or something, you can pick up a letter off of him, and then it has the description of, oh, I was going this place to go do this thing. It's like, okay, cool,
Yeah.
thanks.
So guess what I'm going to be doing for every single tailing mission now?
Yeah.
I
Killing
was,
dudes.
I was hoping you hit him with a tracking bolt that has some sort of recording
Yeah,
device
just
on it. It's like, here's this giant thing, like, well, just carry this backpack, bro.
Yeah.
Just, it's cool.
It just
it's
beep,
cool.
beep,
Just you be a courier for a minute, and
Yeah.
you see like this thing grinding the inscription onto a wheel.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's just a tiny guy on a desk on an arrow, just like tink, 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 tink,
Yeah.
tink, tink, tink.
I think my fiance and I are really excited about this. We really like playing games co-op, and I think to put it in a franchise that both her and I really like, having the opportunity to play that together and not be competitive, I think is really, really, really appealing. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. Next up, Sunset Overdrive. That game continues to look just like the best reason to have an Xbox One.
Yeah, it really does. The way they opened it, I was like, wait, what is this game? Because
Yeah.
they opened that trailer so strangely.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so weird.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for. I was waiting for at some point the announcer from Crazy Taxi was going to start yelling stuff.
Yeah,
Didn't do
exactly.
it.
There's still time.
There is.
Hey!
Yeah, yeah. I'm so excited about that game. I can't even. That was the one game I was really excited about for the Xbox One last E3.
Yeah.
And now I just watching all the traversal stuff, the crazy weapons. I mean, it seems like the next game from that studio that they should have made instead of
Fuse.
Yeah.
Which should have been Overstrike.
Well,
For anyone who missed that whole thing, go look up the trailer for Overstrike and then compare it to what it became, which is Fuse.
Yeah, that was
It's super depressing.
a bit of a mistake.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm super, super excited for that. Next up, Capcom came with a very weird and very surprising trailer for Super Ultra Dead Rising 3 Arcade Remix Hyper Edition EX Plus Alpha Dash.
Which is awesome.
Pretty much one of the best trailers and one of the best like wink and nod titles ever.
Yeah.
You know what's even better? Because of Capcom did that, which just made it perfect.
Mhm.
But it was available the day that trailer came out,
Yep.
And the
and I
costumes.
downloaded it immediately.
The costumes.
Yeah,
Did you see the costumes?
So for anybody that didn't see this, there's a bunch of Capcom-related costumes, UI upgrades, some sort of online co-op business. You know, the end of the trailer finished up with Tofu, which
Yep.
you only get from Resident Evil 2 if you play it like 10 times in a row on the same save file. Like,
Yeah.
there's just such insane stuff in that trailer, and it's just
Yeah.
that's the kind of Capcom I like. We're sort of like, yeah, you know how what we make too much of? Games. So let's put too much stuff in here. Oh,
That's
man.
exactly what that game needed too.
Yeah, just a little bit of goofiness.
And a giant zombified M. Bison is just
Yeah, I forgot
brilliant.
about that.
And Frank West dressed up as Felicia from Darkstalkers because everyone needed to see that.
God, so good.
Ugh.
Next up, Lionhead showed off Fable Legends, which I kind of tuned out because it's another Fable game until they showed it's a 4v1 dungeon crawler kind of Fable game. So basically, it looks like you have 4 players that are kind of crawling through this this generated dungeon, and then one person plays as kind of the villain in the game, and then gets to place down traps and enemies and all that stuff. That seems like it's a really neat idea. That seems like something that Fable kind of needs to do at the moment instead of making Fable 4.
Yeah.
A lot of the impressions from the show floor are kind of like, yeah, it's not there yet, but it's so far off that's okay.
Yeah. So it feels to me like this is what a D&D game should be like in 2014.
Oh, sure, yeah.
This is like if someone can take this mod, like if someone can iterate upon whatever Fable Legends ends up doing, because what it feels like is it feels like they shoved Dungeon Keeper inside of Fable.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I'm totally cool with. That sounds fantastic. I don't know if they'll be able to implement it properly. But if they do anything, like this is where D&D needs to go.
Yeah.
Because it would be phenomenal.
It almost, to me, it felt it had more of a feel of like a Gauntlet Legends than anything else.
Yeah.
But with a dungeon master.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really, as much as I don't like the Fable series, I really hope that they get this right, because I feel like this could be one of those games that you just play with your friends every week, every so often. It feels like it could be like Left 4 Dead 2, like hopefully Evolve will be. It's just one of those like, hey, we got a bunch of us sort of. Yeah, we got 5 of us sitting around. We got 4 of us, maybe even 3. Let's play some Fable Legends. All right.
Yeah.
But 5 seems to be like the group number that you need to hit anymore, because there's always an odd man out.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. But I think what's nice about that is hopefully they can balance that correctly. So it's like, hey, we got 3 or 4 people. We can still actually get through a dungeon.
Yeah.
Yeah. They showed off Project Spark again, which I thought was actually an open beta, but I guess not.
Yeah.
I think
it's coming to open beta fairly soon.
Yeah, I feel like it's been in some sort of mostly finished state for a while. So they showed off kind of a fun little trailer about building worlds, and they showed a whole bunch of stuff that people have built, and then Conquer came out and then said, it's been too long since I've been in a game, so now I'm in Project Spark.
For some reason.
Yeah.
And now, the question here is this the Conquer from his very first game, which was very nice and sweet, or is this Conquer?
I'm going with the latter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because they could.
I think it's going to be the Conquer that doesn't talk. Just to
you think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems about right. Because it's just such a tone-deaf match for this game. This game feels very...
This game feels like it's the thing that you put your kids in front of and say, build a game, play with this thing, do something, and then...
Daddy wants you to build Mario level 1-1, okay?
Yeah, and then you put just a pooping Conquer in it.
Yeah.
Yep.
On pretty much the opposite end of the spectrum from the conversation we're having right now, they showed Ori and the Blind Forest, which is this crazy, amazing-looking game, which is apparently some sort of Metroidvania, very classically inspired. It looks a lot like the art style from the guy that did Dust: The Elysian Tale. It's very much like that.
My first impression when I saw it was almost immediately, an UbiArt game.
Oh, yeah.
It's very, very similar to that style.
Yeah,
it's side-scrolling.
very like painter style.
Yeah, but I don't know if it is. I doubt it is.
No, I don't think so.
Watching that, I watched the trailer like several times. It's just kind of, I just wanted to make sure I saw everything I saw in it.
Yeah.
But it almost had that Muramasa Demon Blade feel to it, with
Oh yeah,
how
yeah.
well
I'm
the
seeing that
sprite
now.
work was done in relation to the world.
Yeah, kind of like what Way Forward did with Boy and His Blob for the Wii.
Yeah.
You know, that
Oh,
real,
yeah.
like, smooth, crisp, well-animated style.
Yeah.
It almost had a Miyazaki feel to it too.
Yeah, totally.
That,
Like,
and I have to comment on the fact that because I'm just refreshing myself with these trailers as we go through. That Moon Studios logo is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yes, it
That
is.
is phenomenal.
Yeah, even their logo is nice.
Yeah, like that's when you know it's good.
Yeah. Then they broke out kind of the Halo hour.
Yeah.
Narrated some sort of preview about Halo 5 Guardians, but also this next thing, but also remastered. It was some Halo business. They announced, unsurprisingly, Halo: the Master Chief Collection contains Halo 1 through 4, but not ODST and not Reach.
I'm okay with that. I just want to play 1 and 2. That's all I want out of that collection.
Well, so here's what I thought was really interesting, and I really kind of wish I was a Halo fan for this collection. So they're taking the remastered Halo 1 and they're putting it in there. They're
Yes.
remastering Halo 2 and they're putting that in there. And then it seems like they're mostly keeping 3 and 4 intact. They're probably
Yeah.
just kind of turning some dials up.
Probably.
But they're keeping the original Halo 1 and they're keeping the original Halo 2. And then they're keeping the original multiplayer for Halo 1 and 2. So you can play either like the original ones or the fixed remastered ones.
Which is so exciting because all I want to do is play Blood Gulch in Halo 1 with a ton of people again. That's all I want.
Yeah, that sounds so alien to me. But what I thought was actually really cool is they made a big deal during the conference about it, and I didn't understand why until afterwards. But they said like, oh, everything in all 4 games is unlocked from the beginning. But what they're doing is they're doing these cool playlists where you can say like, oh, I just want to play all of the I want to play all of the Warthog levels from all 4 games back to back to back.
No, you don't.
You can go do that. Or I want to play that one where you play all that other dude from Halo 2. I want to play all of his stuff all at once. You know, to me that seems. I really wish that developers would do that for more games because that's kind of a cool thing. I mean, it's almost like watching Memento in reverse.
That would be perfect for the MGS series.
Oh, absolutely.
Just pop it in and be like, okay, I want to
play every scene that has Johnny in it.
I want to play every scene that helps make sense of whatever this is.
Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't be like yelling down the hall, like, "Hey, I'm at that spot. You need to get down here like now."
Yeah.
Or for Metal Gear, it'd almost be better because you could literally, okay, I want to do chronological, in real life chronological, or storyline chronological.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think I think that's a super cool sounding collection. I think 343 kind of is hitting a lot of the right notes.
Absolutely.
I would encourage everyone to stop clapping about gamer score.
Yeah, that's not cool.
Yeah, 4,000
okay.
gamer score doesn't matter. So,
yeah,
whatever. Next was the new game from the devs who made Limbo called Inside.
Which looks like Limbo.
Yeah, as a guy who hasn't played Limbo but owns about 6 copies of it, I'm curious about Inside. That looks really cool, and I'm glad to see them not making Limbo 2, even if it's Limbo inspired. Because I feel like they could have been like, yeah, it's Limbo 2. I don't know. We put like the color red in it. Are you gonna buy it? You know, like it could have been this real kind of cynical feeling thing. But
we added neon.
yeah, exactly.
Neon's hot right now.
It looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's clearly they've stepped up their graphical game from Limbo, even if that was like a stylistic choice in Limbo. But this trailer was just very. There's just something you can tell. There's something sinister happening in that world just from the way it looks.
Well, and it's also different without being like indie in the negative sense.
Yeah,
where, like, you could tell something was happening, and you could tell enough about what type of game it was, but it was kind of interesting enough and kind of artsy enough where they didn't say like, "Hey, there's an alien in there inside."
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, oh, okay, I guess I don't need to play that then. Microsoft went on to show quite a few more indie games after that. Showed a whole string of them, like Mighty Number 9, Below, Hyperlight Drifter. They just kind of one after another saying, hey, we love indies too.
What was that? I can't remember the name of it. It's the one that looks like a cartoon from the 20s.
So Cuphead.
Yeah,
That's
Cuphead looks awesome.
Yeah,
it does.
I'm surprised at how many people haven't seen that before, because it's been in development for a little bit over a year, and the very first video they showed looked like that. I mean, it's incredible looking.
I feel like I've had that exact reaction before.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's one of those games where you're like, oh, okay, yeah, no other game has done that. Okay.
Yeah.
We still got stuff we can do.
Excellent.
What Mickey Mouse and the Castle of Illusion did that Steamboat Willie thing. It looks an awful lot like this.
Yeah, I think when you go for Steamboat Willie, that's pretty close. Kingdom Hearts 2 did some of that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, that game looks
it also seems to hit the animation style now that I'm looking at it a little more closely here.
Yeah,
wow.
It's real bouncy, real flowy. It's crazy.
You think it'll have that film grain effect over the whole thing? Like it's being played on a platter projector?
Maybe, yeah. Either
That'd
that
be
or it's
hot.
unlockable.
Yeah.
Microsoft then showed off the Rise of the Tomb Raider trailer, which I am so hot for that game. Holy crap.
That looks good.
Yeah, so excited. I'm really glad that they are continuing that storyline, because I was worried that they would just say like, whatever. We're just going to make another one, and then it's going to be like
It's over
15
now.
year later or something.
Yeah.
Or they're just going to reboot it again. But I'm really happy they're continuing with that. I really, really liked that first game. So please keep making more of those. They're pretty good.
Yeah.
Then CD Projekt Red came out to show off a whole ton of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Which,
I did not see that coming for the Microsoft conference.
No, man,
at all.
Does that game look really good.
Yeah.
This one, he's not quite a platinum blonde anymore, though. But
he looks really old in that, which I think is really interesting.
See, I completely disagree. I think he looks younger than he did in the first game.
Oh,
He's like they made him bigger and just like he looks. I don't know. Maybe it's just
healthier.
Me.
Yeah,
maybe that's it.
There's some other trailers that I've seen that make him look older. Not necessarily specifically how he looks, but just how he carries himself. Like he's just tired.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing that caught me during the demo is when they went into the inventory for like 2 seconds, and how nice that inventory looked compared to the first game.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a hot mess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was so happy about that. And just that whole griffin hunting sequence was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really cool. That game is turning out to be much more than I was expecting it to be. So
yeah.
Man, hopefully it's good.
Yeah.
Next up, they showed a CG trailer for Phantom Dust. So take my $60 or however much it is. $500? Sure.
Yeah, whatever. Just give me that game. The minute it popped up, I was like, "Oh, what is this? This looks interesting." I thought it was going to be a Castlevania game at first. If you look at the dude,
yeah.
I was like, "Oh, what's going on here?" And then it suddenly starts crumbling, and I'm like, "Oh, that looks kind of." No, it can't be. And then I see the collar on the chick's jacket, and I just lost it.
Yeah.
Because that's like the style from that game.
Yeah, that's very much that game style.
And then they glow up, and I'm just like...
I'm really concerned about that game because that game was very much a hard sell originally. Most people forget that game came out for $20.
Yep. And it wasn't going to come out here.
No,
there were
no
plans to bring it out here at all, and Majesco picked it up.
Yeah, probably not helping Majesco at all, but
not really.
I'm concerned that they're going to change that game from an arena battling card game into something a little bit more action-y focused.
Yeah.
But I hope they keep at least the core of it together.
I hope so too, and I think a few changes to that system would be really beneficial. Something like, I mean, you remember you had to go to your starting point every time you wanted to pick up a new card, basically, which sort of it messed with the flow of gameplay. It'd be nice to have like maybe a timer or something.
So the other Jay-Z in chat said, "Can someone explain to me why Phantom Dust is cool? I looked up some stuff on it, but didn't really find anything." So Phantom Dust is kind of hard to explain because I think for a lot of people, it landed at the right time in the original Xbox's life. So basically, it's a 1 versus 1 arena battling game in this now cliched dystopian future where something has clearly happened. But basically, your character gets, I think, 3 to 5 cards that recharge at different speeds, and then you go fight another person in an arena. And it had online, and then it had this kind of semi-interesting 1 versus 1 story mode where you're kind of fighting your way up this chain, almost kind of Quake 3 style.
So for Xbox owners at the time, it was one of the few like almost JRPG-ish games available. The arenas were fully destructible. So you could use, and that the arenas, this is where it gets weird. In local multiplayer, the arenas were not fully destructible; they're only a little destructible. In online, they were fully destructible, and you can actually kill other characters with falling debris. You could literally take down a pillar, and it would drop something on them.
That game was the thing about that game is it was just super cool. Like the style of it was really, really unique. These really thin, kind of lanky people with these cool future clothes. All the cards were neat. The online stuff worked, like really genuinely worked, and it was just a cool game that kind of happened at the right time on the wrong platform.
Yeah, and it hit so many buttons. It hit the JRPG button, it hit the online multiplayer button, it hit the arena battler button, it hit the deck building button because you had to build a deck.
Yeah, and it looked
really good.
There's
so many little so pumped.
Yeah, so I think it's kind of hard for people that didn't play Phantom Dust to understand why Phantom Dust is a really big thing, but I'm hoping they can show people.
Yeah, absolutely.
They came out with Tom Clancy's The Division. Came out with a gameplay trailer,
which looked pretty interesting, actually.
This game got shown off a lot during the show.
Yeah.
And the more I see about it, the more concerned I am about them showing it off way too early and having the possibility of not living up to their own hype.
Well, it's what happened with Ghost Recon.
That.
Yeah, well, Knobs is right. It's the same thing that happened to Ghost Recon, where they showed it off way too early and it landed, and everyone was like, well, it wasn't like that first trailer you guys showed off. That game was pretty cool. Yeah. So I want this game to succeed because I would really, really like to play this game. I am just cautiously optimistic about it landing flat on its face.
Which I think is a concern, especially after the way Watch Dogs happened. I think Ubisoft. I think this is a problem specific to Ubisoft right now.
Yep.
Is that they tend to show a lot. They want to get their fan base and their their supporters and everybody, their investors hyped for new games.
Yeah.
And they jump the gun on it a little bit.
Well, and it's a new Tom Clancy game. That's kind of for them. That's kind of a big thing, and I think for a lot of people, that's kind of a big thing. As we'll talk about much later for another franchise. Yeah. Platinum Games came out with an Xbox One exclusive, which is a phrase I don't think I would have predicted. They showed a CG trailer for Scalebound, which is a game that I'm just going to buy because it's from Platinum Games, and it looks a lot like the style of Vanquish, but dragons and swords.
Which, totally awesome. Let's go.
There's a multiplier. Dragons!
Yeah, apparently the lead dude at Platinum is just like, I just really wanted to make a game with a lot of dragons in it. So please buy Scalebound.
Yeah. The lead character looked a little
Dante-ish.
Yeah, I was really concerned that it was a Devil May Cry.
I would have been okay with that too, but I think he's the modern Japanese hero. So
he is.
Yeah. And then last but certainly not least, they showed the new Crackdown game.
Of course they did.
The thing that made me the most excited. I don't care about anything else in that trailer except for that they kept the art style.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I'm most because to me, Crackdown is so much that really thick black line. It seemed like they sort of cleaned it up a little bit for higher definition, but
which is totally cool.
Yeah, showed a lot of destruction, which assumingly will happen in the game. Showed a bunch of co-op and then shooting dudes. So yay! And they showed the voice of that dude who maybe isn't a bad guy anymore. Who knows? But whatever, new Crackdown.
Yeah, looks
I,
awesome.
I'm so excited to see where that goes.
Yeah.
There
Even though,
was
even just because of how the second one ended, with all that crazy hyperbole and
Yeah, I forgot. Well, both of them
circumstance and
ended
stuff,
so crazy.
like
yeah.
this, I mean, the second one ended extremely ambiguous about what you were actually doing, and to see this little, well, you know what happened at Pacific City,
Yeah.
like, oh, oh,
Oh wait,
yeah, what?
Oh wait, you're
I do know what
referencing that.
happened in
Okay.
Pacific. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So
Uh,
that for me was kind of a great way of closing out that press
it
conference.
really was, and so I was reading news articles after this press conference, and I noticed that Shack News incorrectly reported who was making the new Crackdown.
Oh.
They initially reported that the new Crackdown was coming from Platinum,
What?
and I like
I would
almost
play
lost
that
it. I was
game.
like, "How did I miss that?"
Yeah.
And they retracted it and said it was whatever studio. I think it was Cognition or something, or
Yeah,
Cognitive
it's
or something.
some newer studio.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it's not
for like
roughing again.
15 seconds, I was like, oh, Platinum's making Crackdown.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought overall Microsoft had a really solid press conference. I think
They had a really strong showing
they
this year.
came out and they said we're going to show you some games, and then they shut up and they showed you a lot of games.
Yeah, and they lived up to that promise. They walked out, they said games, and they walked off, and they just
Yeah, they didn't
here's your
show
games.
TV, they didn't show movies. They talked a little bit about the Halo series, which they kind
Yeah.
of need to.
They didn't talk about apps. They didn't do any of that.
Yeah, they didn't even talk about firmware updates. Like,
Yeah.
and so to me, that's pretty great of them to come out and just be like, yeah, we got games here they are, enjoy.
Yeah.
See you in an hour and a half.
Yep.
So good
That,
on them.
it was solid. I mean, it was the press conference they had to have, though. I mean,
Absolutely.
they couldn't go off the deep end with anything crazy that they've got cooking. They just needed to all right, we need to be consistent and we need to
Yeah.
nail it.
They needed to show people why they should get an Xbox One. And I think for a
Yeah.
lot of people they did. Or for people like me, it's like, hey, you still have a reason to keep your Xbox One around.
Yeah.
Yeah, because for right now, I mean, it's been a desert for
Yeah.
me game wise.
Yeah.
I'm stuck on Zavad 311.
Well, speaking of desert, let's talk about EA's press conference. The press conference 2014 of, hey, this stuff isn't done yet.
Yep.
It's really more press conference 2015.
Yeah. Kicking that off with Star Wars Battlefront, which is a lot of concept art and a lot of close-up shots of some Star Wars stuff.
Yep.
And then
Yeah.
end with, quote, see more in spring 2015. So that game is all the
Nowhere
way
near done.
away.
Yeah.
I'm still excited.
I'm super pumped, but I hope we get it before 2017. I mean, I just...
We'll get it when the movies come out. We'll get it December
Wow.
2015.
Yeah, probably.
They will time that. Or we'll get it just before in October or November.
Yeah.
For Christmas! Yay!
The next showed a lot more of Dragon Age Inquisition than I was expecting them to. They showed a really cool CG trailer, and then they showed a gameplay trailer where they fought a dragon. So
Yeah. And
great.
it looks like you're controlling multiple characters again.
Yes, which is super
Which is,
great.
yeah.
Well, they did
because
that. They do that in 2.
Yeah, I didn't play much of 2. All I saw was like, hey, you're this guy. It's like, am I?
Yeah, you could
Do I
still
wanna be that guy?
You could
Yeah.
still switch characters. It just wasn't the focus as much as it is in 1. So, you know,
Okay.
it seems like they're going back to the Dragon Age 1 style. You can
Sort of control your whole party.
yeah, you can zoom out, you can pause, you can do a lot of that Dragon Age stuff that people want. There's a lot more
Yeah.
characters, old characters returning. I'm super excited for that game. And
Yeah.
I think the stuff they showed, even as someone who liked Dragon Age 2, I think they have learned, okay, this is what people want out of Dragon Age. Let's
Yeah.
give that to them in spades.
Yeah,
So-
I'm super pumped for that. I mean, I feel like they showed some of that at Microsoft.
Yeah, I think they showed very, very little. Not
Yeah,
as much
just
as
like
they
a
showed
base
here.
trailer. Yeah.
Next up, they showed more stuff from the new Mass Effect, which surprisingly people don't know that they're making more Mass Effect.
Yeah.
They showed a lot of concept art and a lot of in-engine stuff, but that game, understandably, is a long way away because
Absolutely.
they are they're not making Mass Effect 4. They are making a new Mass Effect game, so they're kind of starting back from scratch. So,
Yeah, there's a lot to do.
Yeah. Next up, they showed The Sims 4, which is unironically one of my most anticipated games this year. They showed a lot of the new improved character interaction stuff, which looks really, really great. I think, disappointingly, they didn't show the new house building stuff. I think that would have gone a long way to selling more people on it, because just as a short pitch for everyone, because you should probably play The Sims 4, you can now build a new, you can say like, oh, I want a new kitchen, and drag out a kitchen, and it's fully furnished.
Oh, nice.
And it is more furnished depending on how big it is. And it's like, oh, I want a living room. Drag it out, boom, you got a living room.
That's awesome.
So,
and can you rearrange it from there?
Oh, totally. You can throw that stuff out. Or you could just drag out an empty room and furnish it yourself. So
nice.
There's a lot of... the thing that I've been impressed with is there's a lot of time-saving stuff in the games now. Where it's like, okay, I just want like a tiny bathroom, so they have a bathroom. Just put the shower and the sink and whatever they need, just put it in there.
Yeah.
They showed off EA Sports UFC. EA loves Bruce Lee in a really uncomfortable way.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one that was bothered by that trailer.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't like the it seems disrespectful.
Yeah, and it just that's a game that I'm not really interested in, but looks really great, and apparently is a really hot UFC game. Apparently, everything. I talked to somebody at work who knows a lot more about it, and apparently it is like white hot. So
nice,
great. So I feel kind of the same way about NHL 15, which they showed off, which was a lot of like, hey, we made this more and better, but I don't know what that is.
That should be EA's motto. Not it's in the game. It's more
and better.
Better.
Yeah.
Every year.
Next off, Criterion Games talked about their offices for a long time, and then showed off a little bit of stuff about helicopters, and then they're making a racing game.
Somehow with helicopters.
Yeah. So there, no date, no name, no idea of. It looks like there's 10 people working at that company now. Like, it's just super weird. So, I'm kind of excited.
But I mean, Criterion does good stuff, but I would kind of be okay with just a new, just
Burnout.
Burnout. That'd be really sweet, guys.
It seems like they're making fuel, so that's okay.
Yeah. So.
Next off, PGA Tour, showing off now the Tiger Woods-less PGA games. Coming in spring 2015, and Extreme Fantasy courses are back. Yay!
They need to go either all the way crazy and stop dabbling in it. I want to see the Happy Gilmore swings again. I want to see a little nuclear explosion when I hit a golf ball.
You know, I think now that Tiger is gone, I think the chances of that happening are fairly high. When you show a golf course that has a carrier ship flowing into it, I think we're getting back on the older Tiger track.
Back on the crazy train, so to speak.
Well, I mean, the crazy shit, like, I love one of my favorite things when you hit the perfect shot, it does that Billie Jean snapshot of the whole swing.
Yeah, I feel like they're getting back to that, having a little bit more fun with it, and less of, let's talk about how awesome Tiger is and how young he started playing golf.
Yeah, let's look how great the grass is.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm still super excited for that game. Hopefully,
Me too.
Hopefully it's gonna be really great.
Nice.
They showed Madden 15. All I wrote was something about defense and blocking. I don't know. More Madden. Whatever.
Yeah.
Looks better again. New rosters. Yay.
Yay.
EA talked about Dawn Gate. They're making a MOBA. Still.
Good for them. We want money too, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really what that felt like.
Yeah. Mirror's Edge 2, concept art, concept video. Still looking really good. Still happening, which is good news. No details, no date. So
I can't wait to play that game. The first one was so much fun.
I wonder how different it's going to be.
I don't know.
I really do.
The concept video stuff they were showing looked very similar, at least from an art style.
I like that clean city. It's such a... Oh.
I sort of feel like they went out of their way to not show guns in that trailer, which makes me feel better. Since that was the rumor of why it's taken so long for this game to happen, is because the guns versus no guns fight was still raging in EA.
Yeah.
So hopefully someone won that on the no guns side.
Hopefully.
FIFA 15, they not a lot there other than why'd you buy last year's game? That was terrible. You should buy this one, right, guys?
Yeah.
Soccer. And Battlefield Hardline
Yep.
showed a super, super crazy and really great looking gameplay demo.
It really did. They did a really good job with that demo.
Yeah. And then said, like, hey, the beta's out now for PC and PS4. Hey, you should
Yeah.
go play that if you own Battlefield 4.
Yeah. So now I'm like, oh, maybe I will pick up Battlefield 4.
Yeah, I'm kind of impressed with how they made that game look. I thought on the surface, like, oh, this cops versus crooks sort of thing that they were talking about in Battlefield, I don't think that on the surface, it didn't sound like it really matched.
Yeah.
But that game seems pretty great.
It looks neat. I mean, I don't know. It all depends.
I feel like it's a
kinda-
Battlefield game for people that don't like the standard Battlefield games.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't
Yeah.
want to play, like, the real life war stuff, if you don't want to do the giant maps, if you just love the movie Heat, then I think this game is really for you. But otherwise, I feel like this is kind of their attempt at getting something in between Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 5.
I would love to. I mean, this feels to me, the more I see this, it feels to me like just a sort of an update on the Counter-Strike formula. You know,
Oh,
these
yeah.
the payday games. I mean, this is how they're bringing those types of games into the modern era of shooters, because you don't have. I mean, Battlefield and Mag and games like that are all these big open maps.
Yeah.
And yeah, Call of Duty does sort of everything in between, but this feels like they're trying to condense it back down and make it a little more objective based.
Yeah.
Well, that's
And
what
make
I
it-
mean. That's what 3 did, and it.
Yeah.
Man, that game was frustrating. Even playing the second assault maps, it's.
Mm.
I don't know. I mean, the thing that I think that makes Battlefield shine is the sheer size of the map.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see what this game ends up being when it hits shelves, because I think this feels like a little bit more of an evolution from the kind of what I think most people generally understand of as the Payday series. Well, I know
Yeah.
it's not really what it is, but I think that type of game could do really well as long as there's enough variety in there to kind of make it interesting. Then I think
Yeah.
that could turn out pretty interesting.
Yeah, and plus you have, I mean, you when you change it from a battlefield to like city streets, you have so many more options for maps.
Yeah.
I mean, the minute they release a Chicago map for this, I'm going to be like, well,
I guess I gotta get it.
yeah,
All right, let's move on to Ubisoft here. Had
yeah,
a slightly less crazy press conference than years past, which I was kind of disappointed in. I was looking forward to just insanity.
yeah,
Far Cry 4, they showed the intro stuff with the villain and the monkey and the bus and everything.
yeah.
The game looks great. We'll talk about it more during the next press conference in Sony, but they keep showing stuff I like. So
Yeah.
keep
It's,
doing
it's
that.
more Far Cry, and it looks like they wrote it better. So,
Yeah, totally. They showed off Just Dance 2015.
because of course they did.
Well, I think I was ready to write it off until they showed off a lot of really cool stuff. I feel like both Ubisoft and Sony have figured out the dancing karaoke genre at the moment.
Yeah,
So for Just Dance 2015, they're sort of following what Sony's doing with SingStar and boy, everybody is tired today.
Yeah.
long
Did all three
long
of us do it at
weekend,
the same
sir.
time?
Yep. They are God. Just Dance is so exciting.
It's just
Oh man, I love to dance. So they showed off. So for anyone that doesn't know how Just Dance is, basically you hold something in your hand, like the Wii remote, and then you follow through dance moves like these shadow people are doing on screen. So how they're extending this is Just Dance can be played on tablets, PCs, or smart PCs or smart televisions. So
Okay.
you kind of have that basic core, but then just like Sony's doing, the thing you hold in your hand to do all this dancing stuff is your smartphone. And you do all your scoring there, and you do all. And they were saying like, yeah, if you want to play with 2 people or 20 or 200 or 2,000 playing the same song, you can do that now. And
That's
they showed
fantastic.
it in the audience with what looked like about 50 people dancing. And then it tallied up everybody and said, this person won. So I think that's kind of a smart way for them to go with Just Dance. That seems neat. Use the thing that everybody has in their pocket. That's a good idea. Tom Clancy's Division, they showed off the long and super bummer trailer where apparently just everybody dies. And then who doesn't die gets beat up. And then those people get shot. So, hooray.
Welcome to the Division.
Yeah, welcome to New York. Everybody's dead. They showed off The Crew, which admittedly I had kind of forgotten about. Sorry.
I thought it was the Division.
Yeah. They showed a race across the U.S. from Miami to San Francisco or L.A. I don't remember. Let's say California. It's a big state. That game looks pretty cool. I think the thing that I had sort of drawn similarities to at work last week was SSX3. That seems very much to me, SSX3 built you up to races and then things, and then you race down the whole mountain. This, to me, kind of sounds like the same thing, where it's like, let's race around Florida. Let's race across the country. Yay! And they said racing from Miami to LA, San Francisco takes 2 hours.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So
nice.
that's, to me, that sounds really interesting. I don't think I saw the need for another racing game until they said that, and that sounds pretty great.
Yeah, well, the one thing the game needs is a Trans Am.
It's true. Can't go wrong.
It's a
Cannonball
black
on it.
Trans Am.
Yep.
They showed off, of course, Assassin's Creed Unity. Showed off a longer CG trailer, and then they showed off some more gameplay that ended with some co-op stuff.
Yeah.
So still looks great. They keep showing me more stuff that I like. So they should keep doing that.
Yeah, I'm super pumped for that. The idea of playing co-op in that game, never even really occurred to me. I didn't realize that was something I wanted.
Yeah, me neither. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, awesome! All right, I don't have to deal with this stuff by myself. I can complain about this game to other people while we play it.
Yeah.
It was always something that was in the back of my mind when I was playing it through 2. Like, man, this would be really cool if I had another dude running around here with me.
Yeah, like couldn't somebody else who's better at this game just do this for me? That'd be great.
Yeah, follow me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They showed a Kinect-based game called Shape Up, which looks like it's almost kind of the next evolution from the Your Shape games. This game looks really great. I was ready to write this off, but they showed this really cool kind of rhythm section where it looks like you're playing the keyboard from Big against a version of you from yesterday.
Yeah.
And then they showed this really cool looking push-up game where the more push-ups you do, the bigger stuff shows up on your back.
Nice.
Starts off with barrels, and then it moves to gorillas and a warship, and then the Joe's Donuts sign is the last one they showed.
That seems kind of mean. Hey, you're doing all this work, you want a donut?
Yeah, it just there's something about the style of it. It's this kind of crazy pixelated arcade style that I thought looked really, really cool. So I might check that game out when it comes out. It looks like the way to actually make working out fun in a way that isn't like, we make working out fun, yeah.
It's no rah-rah stuff. Give you something stupid to kind of laugh at while you're doing it.
When I'm running, have a giant killer squid chasing me or something. Make it at least more interesting.
Yeah.
Or change the hue to myself where I'm green, where I feel like I'm the Hulk after I'm done working out.
Yeah, smashing through a city while I'm running or something. Those are great ideas. I would work out with that game. So, and then literally the polar opposite of that game. They came out with Valiant Hearts: The Great War, which is a super bummer World War I, everybody dies UbiArt game. Or maybe you play as a dog. I don't know. I don't really know.
That would only be the actual thing. Is you're one of the dogs that get the bomb strapped to you. You just run across the field
Jesus.
Yeah, but it looks.
Well, that's World War I.
Oh, I know.
I know.
That game would be
You
mean.
have to remind me.
This game looks super great. Looks like it's telling a very serious World War One story, which is not a thing I think we've gotten very often. So kind of curious about that, and it looks outstandingly good.
It does.
And thankfully, it doesn't look like Rayman. They're using the UbiArt engine for other types of games. So
Yeah, it's really nice to see this style and then put it next to Child of Light and then put it next to Rayman. You've got some real differences there.
yeah, it's starting to not be the same game, which I think is great.
Absolutely.
And then they ended up with the game that made Aisha Tyler cry, which is Rainbow Six Siege, a 5v5 Rainbow Six multiplayer game, which looks really great.
Yeah.
That I was not excited about that until they got about halfway through that trailer, and that whole thing was super scripted. I don't really care.
Yeah.
That game looks like a lot of fun.
Just the back and forth with the hostage was really, really cool.
Yeah, I like the idea of the thing that I think Fortnite will hopefully do really well if it ever comes out, is sort of like this setup phase where, all right, I'm going to set up all this stuff, I'm going to block off all these windows and, barricade this house, and then have these dudes come through with shotguns and just blap and just blow holes through the walls and stuff. It looks like one of those games where you'd get 4 of your friends together and play against 5 random people, and just see stuff that you haven't seen before, and just be like, oh, I can't believe we never thought to barricade this thing. Oh, okay. Crap, they got us.
Yeah.
It seems like that meta game that people always talk about. It seems like one of those games where it's just sort of like, I've never seen this before. Crazy.
Yeah. Like, tactics continuously being evolved. Like, I would akin it to what we did with Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2, whereas trying to find the most ridiculous places to pounce or just random tactics with a boomer, and like all that stuff is good things.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't been excited to play Rainbow Six game in ages.
Since Vegas 1.
Well, even before that, I think the original, like, covering corners and doing it right.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was one of the few games rewarded you for properly breaching a door.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And not just run through, guns a-blazing.
Let's move on to Sony's press conference here. They had a giant press conference here that we have so much to talk about.
Yeah.
Started off with Destiny, showed off some of the story stuff, which sounds really uninteresting. I say before I played the alpha, and now it sounds very interesting. Alpha happened this past weekend, probably over by now. The beta launches on PS4 on July 17th. I cannot wait to play a lot more of that game. I would like it to happen right now. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
They also showed a new PlayStation 4 SKU, the white one that comes with Destiny.
They did.
That looks super cool.
Really awesome.
I don't like the black touchpad on the white controller, but I don't really care. That won't stop me from buying one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of wish they would have shown more Destiny. I think a lot of people, myself included, don't know what that game is. I wish they would do a better job of explaining it, that it's Borderlands 2 plus light MMO. I feel like that would go a long way towards explaining anything.
Yep.
They showed off some gameplay for The Order 1886. Sort of showed how cutscenes and gameplay go together, and show how you shoot werewolves, and that game continues to look even better.
Yeah, it does.
That game looks really, really cool.
Yeah, everything about that just screams to me like what Gears of War would have been like
the Victorian times.
Yeah, Victorian Gears of War.
Well, I'm glad you brought up Gears of War, because watching that reminded me of seeing the first gameplay stuff of Gears of War, and you're just like, oh, okay, this is what next gen looks. Okay, next gen's here. All right, now you can very clearly say, like, this is a new game. These are old games. This is why you want the new stuff.
Yep.
So that game. I hope that game turns out really great, because I think that could be one of those games for the PS4 where, like if you owned a 360 and you didn't play Gears of War, it's just like, why? Why are you wrong? What's wrong with you? I'm hoping that this game turns out sort of like how God of War 1 and 2 were for the PS2, where it's like this is required reading. You have to play this game. They showed off Entwined, which is a student game where you play as two floaty things and they do stuff together. It's out now. I don't know what it is. It's $10.
I was gonna buy it and then I changed my mind because I realized it's the type of game that's gonna show up on PS Plus in like 3 months.
Yeah, I'll try it on PS Plus, but I even feel like their pitch didn't tell me what it is.
Yeah,
at all.
It's clearly some sort of like take on the Panzer Dragoon formula or the Res formula, but with birds and colors.
Yeah, I don't.
Sure.
Really weird.
Yeah, looked cool.
Yeah, it's out now if you want to try it.
Weird.
It's $10.
Yeah.
Much more interesting is the infamous standalone DLC where you play as
I lost
Fetch.
my poops over that.
Yeah, that lady who had neon powers.
Great.
I think that looks really, really cool, and I would like to finish Infamous at some point, and then go play that. They also showed Little Big Planet 3, which looked hard to play.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
Yeah, that's one of those bad live. That's one of those not bad but rough live demos. That game looks like more Little Big Planet 3. So if you really like that, it looks like there's more of it. I really like those additional characters that they showed. Those
I'm glad to see them doing
super
stuff
adorable.
like that.
Yeah, I'm glad it's not just hey, it's Sackboy's back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's not really a game for me, so I kind of, other than the 4 characters, I don't really know what's different. I guess my big question is, are they going to bring over a lot of the maps and stuff that people have created from the previous 2? That would be pretty cool. Oh,
they are 100% backwards compatible.
Look at that. That's pretty cool.
Both games. That's awesome. Yeah. That's an incredible feat of software engineering.
Yeah, I don't even know how they would. I guess that's the one good benefit of having all that stuff in their Little Big Planet Cloud thing. They just say, hey, now we increase the version number, and now you can play it. Yay! So that's pretty cool. Yeah. Next game they showed is one that I am super excited for. They showed Project Beast, which is now known as Bloodborne. From the talented individuals at From Software and from the guy who has been making the Souls games, comes another Souls game they are calling something different.
Yeah.
It even has, hey, you absorb souls after you defeat enemies. So, that game looks really interesting. I'm curious to hear why they're moving away from the Souls games. They knowing that company, they probably need just a little bit of a break, or they just want to start more games,
or they don't like the number 3.
Maybe. Who knows?
The only other thing I could think of is they don't want to. Maybe it's different enough that they don't want to confuse it with previous games.
Yeah, maybe because it is in. It looks semi-modern day.
Yeah.
Some sort of more modern than, whatever, however the Souls games were supposed to be. So
yeah,
that looks super cool. So I'm excited about that. I'm glad that's coming to PS4. They showed off a gameplay demo of Far Cry 4, which was some open world stuff, some hang gliding stuff. Happy to see that's back.
Yeah.
Some elephants destroying things stuff.
Which was awesome. I think that might have been my favorite moment. Just elephants going buck wild on some dudes.
Just going crazy.
Yeah. It's an elephant. What are you going to do?
Yeah, can't stop it. And then they talked about PS4 players can invite people into their game even if the other people don't own the game.
Yeah.
They've come out with that and said it's the app. So just download the app and it's going to be huge, but you can join into somebody else's game and play it. So
yeah. So I heard I was listening to the Giant Bomb E3 stuff, and one of the guys, I forget if he was for Ubisoft or for Sony or whoever, was saying the way that works is it once the player joins the game, it drops all the story stuff. Unfortunately, like it just becomes like a co-op like run around.
Oh, that's not so bad.
Yeah, so, but like it's for a limited amount of time as well. So I don't know. It sounded, I was really pumped when I first heard it, but when I started hearing more of the details, I was like, oh, it's just sort of a sales tactic,
Yeah,
which I get.
I think that's okay because some of the stuff that I get frustrated about sometimes when you invite friends or even random people into your game and just like,
Yeah.
hey, why are you all the way over there? Oh my God, you're doing story stuff. Come on, dude. Like, just
Yeah.
how do
Yeah.
I kick this guy? So that to me sounds, if you're gonna invite your friend into a game for a limited time, let's just blow stuff up.
For sure.
Yeah. They showed off a CG trailer for Dead Island 2, which is pretty great. That
I don't care about this series at all.
I
really
They make great
don't.
trailers, though.
Yeah,
They
I
do.
didn't
No
like
denying that.
I didn't like the first
Yeah.
one at all, but Knobs is right. They make really great trailers.
It was a great trailer, but
Yeah.
for a game that I'm never
I'm
going to
not
be interested
I'm not
enough to
even playing
buy.
the game, but I will continue to watch the
Voodoo,
trailers.
my voodoo. Come on.
Followed that up with a really, really funny commercial / trailer for Magica 2.
That was fantastic. That
I
whole thing was wonderful.
I really, really liked that, and I'm surprised they're coming out with that on consoles. I've heard some questionable things about the first version's controller support and controls. So, but more games on PS4 is great. So,
Yeah, for sure.
and then the next one was my biggest surprise and most genuine excited thing about the show is Sony's working with Disney to bring back Grim Fandango.
It's so exciting.
It's really interesting. Two-player productions, whichever, shot a little retrospective with Tim Schafer. Gave some really, really interesting history about it. And I think it was Adam Boyes from Sony is just like, yeah, we're just bringing that back, and we're just making it look better. Grim
That's going to
Fandango.
be so crazy.
That's exciting.
Too many people miss that game, and it's easily one of LucasArts' best games.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that this will be on a medium where more people will be exposed to Manny. Like,
Yeah.
It's
he is
such
one
a
of my
good game.
favorite characters of all time.
Yeah. I'm excited to play that game again. Tim Schafer brought up a really good point. He said, we made one pressing of the game, it sold really well, and then we couldn't make another pressing of the game for some reason, and it disappeared. Like, there are virtually no more copies out there, and it's not digitally available.
No.
So unless you
not.
pirate it, you can't.
Experience it.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard to get that game even running.
So I have one of the only copies of Grim Fandango.
I do too. Yeah, they did one pressing, which sounded like it was pretty big. But after that, it's only one shipment of that game.
That's crazy.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and that game is outstanding. So
I'm so excited to walk around with Bob Frost's balloon head and go.
yeah, God, that game's crazy.
Yeah.
They showed a bunch more indie stuff. They showed a bunch of game logos on the screen, not focusing on it as much this year because I think popular opinion is Sony loves indies, so I'm not going to drive that in the ground.
I think everyone knows, and they showed all the great games that we're waiting for still. So.
Yeah. They showed Suda51's new game, Let It Die, which I don't know what that is, except for I really like the logo. It has a skateboarding death on it.
Yep.
So, not entirely sure, but it's Suda51, so it'll be good and insane.
And fun.
Yeah, and fun. They showed a game called Abzu, which is made by two people that worked on Journey, and one of them is the guy who wrote the music.
Sweet.
I don't know much about that game at all.
I feel like I missed that part of the conference. I don't think I saw this game somehow.
It was fairly short. The trailer wasn't very long. But I feel like that's a game that you probably don't want them to show you too much off of if it's made by people that made Journey. So you can just kind of play it for yourself.
For sure.
They showed a lot of No Man's Sky, which the thing that I really liked was the guy who heads up Hello Games was genuinely overwhelmed by people liking his game.
Yeah.
That game, I hope that game comes out. Because I think that game, he was talking about his their inspirations being, the 80s fantasy sci-fi covers. And that game looks a lot like that. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really, really interesting. If anybody is interested in hearing how they make that game, you should listen to Giant Bomb's either Day 0 or Day 1 E3 stream, whichever one has it on there.
I think it was Day 0.
I think so.
Sure.
There's a really interesting thing where they automate world creation with animated GIFs.
Yeah, they do. It's really more of a quality check, it seems like, where they take animated GIFs of each world that's created and put it on a server and have just this like command center view of it.
Yeah, I'll leave people to listen to that because it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So I still don't think there's any date for that game yet, but
I don't think so.
Yeah, they have a team of like 10 people, so it's gonna take a little bit of time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Surprisingly, they didn't talk a lot about Project Morpheus. They're like, hey, it's on the floor. Go see it, I guess. I thought they'd spend a lot more time on that, but apparently the demos they have on the floor are really good, especially the luge game, which the street luge, which apparently people are really enjoying. They spent a lot of time talking about free-to-play games. They are bringing a lot of iPhone games to the Vita, and they're bringing a lot of free-to-play PC games onto the PS4. So, okay. One of those is Kingdom Under Fire 2, so...
Which is real weird.
Yeah, that seems like a real weird match. I'm surprised about that.
Mm-hmm.
PlayStation Now open beta happens July 31st. I'm still under NDA. I would really like to talk about that. Unfortunately, I cannot yet. I will say that maybe you should try the open beta.
Yeah.
Cough, cough. They said, quote, over 100 PlayStation Vita games in development today. End quote.
And that's about all they said about it.
Moving on.
Yeah.
They are bringing out the Vita TV to the U.S., surprisingly calling it the PlayStation Vita.
Yeah.
Coming to
PlayStation TV.
Yeah, PlayStation TV. Sorry.
Yeah, they're dropping the Vita name because apparently that's a box office poison in America.
It's a kiss of death here. Coming to the U.S. completely intact, $100, $140 for a bunch of extra stuff. If you're gonna get it, that's the one you want because it comes with a memory card.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely surprised they're coming out with it here after it failed in Japan.
I think there's a bigger market for something like a set-top box here, and honestly, I could see there's a totally reason to get it if you have a PS4 and you have a TV in another room and you want a set-top box in another room, but you don't want to get a Roku because it's just a Roku.
Yeah.
This has value add for them all over the place if they position it correctly.
I think to me the biggest selling point they should probably push is, hey, this thing plays PS1 games.
Yeah.
Remember Crash Team Racing? You guys enjoyed that. You can play this on your TV again.
Yeah, you can play PS4 games through this thing.
Totally. And Vita games.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to be interested to see how they sell that other than E3. They showed some minor gameplay stuff from Mortal Kombat X, which is not 10, and I hate it. That game looks like more Mortal Kombat. With some stuff they did in Injustice with background stuff. But
I really like the environmental stuff they do with the combat there.
Yeah, I'm very curious. I've heard a little bit of stuff about the story, where they're going to be continuing it from 9, but maybe a little bit after what happened.
Very nice.
I'm curious to see. I'm kind of a little lukewarm on it right now, because it looks like more Mortal Kombat. I need to see the story stuff from them because as of right now it's more Mortal Kombat with kind of grosser neck snapping stuff, which is not the stuff that I'm really there for. But they showed off about 18 minutes of it in a 2-minute trailer. So I don't know. I'm very curious to see what that game turns out to. The other Jay-Z said in chat that it's 25 years after. So that's why Johnny Cage and Sonya have a kid now, and she's fighting. So they showed the Ratchet & Clank movie trailer that came on the disc from that last Ratchet & Clank game. So that's happening. They also quasi-announced and then clarified later they're remaking the first Ratchet & Clank game again.
Oh, okay.
But they're changing the origin story. So they're making a PS4 Ratchet and Clank 1, but they're changing parts of the story to match up with the movie.
So they're just retconning,
right?
Basically,
retcon and Clank, more like it.
I never thought I'd see that in gaming. That's that's sort of historic.
I don't know if I would see that in a Ratchet and Clank game because nobody cares. I care about the story after the first PS3 one because they started putting an interesting story in there.
Yeah.
But who cares about Ratchet and Clank's origins? I'm glad they're remaking Ratchet and Clank 1 because that game is great, but all of them are great. So they just came out with the HD collection too. It just seems like something that's sort of like, all right, maybe you guys are going a little too far on this.
I never played the original. Is there something questionable about it? Or
no, it's just
what?
Ratchet. So here's the origin story for Ratchet and Clank. Clank was a robot. He fell from his planet because something accidental happened in literally 15 seconds in the intro. Ratchet was fixing up spaceships, finds Clank, they go on an adventure.
So we're gonna find out what a space marmot is?
Yeah, the thing is, you find that out on the PS3 games. We've already discovered what the Lombaxes are. We're wrapping up that story right now. It's just so weird.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. They showed off a trailer of The Last of Us Remastered, which looks great, and I couldn't tell the difference. So IGN put out a trailer that showed the difference between PS3 and PS4. It does look a lot better, but I didn't like that game in the first place, so I'll wait for it to get really cheap, and hopefully they fix the frame rate. Coming out July 29th. I'm excited. They showed off MGS5, a new trailer with a lot of knives. And apparently at some point, Snake loses his skin.
Yeah,
and
that's
trailer looks real great.
Trailer looks really just you know how much I love Metal Gear.
Mm-hmm.
That trailer was just all over the place with stuff. You have Ocelot walking around Mother Base. You have, if that's even what that is.
It is.
Not just a new.
So they were talking about a lot in the gameplay trailers.
Okay.
It has the Fulton recovery system from the mobile
which
games.
You can apparently use on goats. I don't know if you saw that.
You can use it. So they Fultoned a bunch of enemies, a sheep, and then a bunch of cargo containers, like shipping containers, and all of that stuff showed up on Mother Base.
Nice.
They turned a corner and a sheep is just like, "What's up?" So MGS5, I need it right now.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
They followed that up with the least surprising announcement of GTA 5 coming to PS4 and also Xbox One and PC this fall.
What a surprise.
I will probably pick that up as long as they have fixed the frame rate, because that frame rate made me a little nauseous.
Yeah.
And I'd like to finish GTA 5. That game was pretty good.
Yeah, I'd like to play GTA 5. I just knew this was going to happen, so why buy it?
Yeah, exactly. Buy it on the good things.
Yep.
Or buy it twice.
Yeah. They showed Batman Arkham Knight. They showed a little bit of gameplay, a lot of Batmobile stuff. And then the trailer breaks to show Scarecrow, which that's the sort of Scarecrow that I would like to see more often, please. That Scarecrow is messed up.
That Scarecrow is awesome. That Scarecrow completely flipped me on that game.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. There's no way I'm gonna play this game, but that Scarecrow looks super cool.
Yeah, I will play that game. I will take a stab at it. I stopped after Arkham City. I was like, that was overwhelming. Tone down the Riddler stuff, and maybe we'll talk.
Yeah, I'm not even interested in starting to play this game.
Batman's becoming the new zombies for me, man.
I want them to make another Arkham Asylum. Make a very small, tightly focused game. I will play another one of those, but another open world one, I'm not gonna. Yeah. I'm done. And they finished up with a surprising CG trailer for Uncharted 4: A Thief's End, except it wasn't CG, they came out later and said. That was actually the engine running on a real PS4.
Wow.
So, holy crap. Wow. That was 1080p, 60 frames. I don't know who they murdered and bathed in their blood to make that look like that, but...
Carmack.
Probably.
Yeah.
But I thought was like, wow, that was a really good CG trailer. And then Naughty Dog the next day was like, no, that's That's in engine, like on the PS4. We're shooting for it to look like that. So, okay.
Wow.
I'll play that.
Yeah.
I like that Drake actually looked weathered.
Yeah, it's a number of years after Uncharted 3, so he's going to be pretty old in this one. Apparently this is his last heist.
The old last heist.
Yeah, and you know what? Hopefully it is. I think if we could get 4 good Uncharted games, that's 3 more than most series get. So let's just kind of put a bow on it.
Well, before it turns into Uncharted Quest for the Crystal Skull.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'd play it.
Yeah. I mean, I just finished a book that was number 15 in its series. I don't want Uncharted to get to that point where it's like, I mean, it's not as bad as book 12, but it's better than book 7. You know, like...
Yeah, you can't say that without sounding like a D.
Yeah, you can't say that without being like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So Sony, I thought, had a pretty good press conference. I skipped over the Brian Michael Bendis stuff because he was on stage for way too long.
Yeah, and I love Bendis. He's phenomenal. He's a great writer. He's the guy behind almost all of my favorite stuff.
He runs Marvel at this point, let's be honest.
Yeah. he's been my favorite comics dude probably like the last decade next to Warren Ellis.
Mm-hmm.
But just, man,
but nobody cares about the show he's making. No one cares about that.
Okay, I care, because Powers is great.
Do you care for 5 minutes, though?
I don't know. I care for about 2, because that's not why I'm watching this.
Yeah, I felt like this was very much... That section was very much Ubisoft and Microsoft of last year. Where it's like, TV! Yeah. No, games, don't worry about those.
Which was really unfortunate, because without this segment, I give Sony press conference of the show.
Yeah.
But with that segment in, like, they're almost falling behind everybody.
Yeah, really.
It's really a bummer.
I was actually really happy with Sony's press conference overall. I think they came out with a lot of stuff that was really great. I think they gave enough real looks at a lot of games. They didn't focus on the indie stuff again this year, which I think everybody knows that they love indie games, so let's not belabor the point.
And they also folded some of them into the main show, which sort of, I think, almost legitimizes it. It's like, hey, these aren't indie games anymore, guys. These are just games.
Yeah, No Man's Sky is just a game that we have on the PS4. It just happens to be made by 10 people.
Yeah, and that's okay. Games can be made by 10 people and still be real games.
Yeah. It worked for us in like the 80s and the 90s.
I think eschewing that indie games label at this point is a really good idea, because a lot of people will look at it and go, oh, it's an indie game? I don't want to mess with that.
Yeah, I bet it's real bad.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's beyond the point where it's cool and hip to be an indie game.
Yeah, exactly. You're just a small team.
You just want to be a game.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to Nintendo here before we move on to our miscellaneous stuff. They showed a lot of stuff about Smash Brothers. Like, I easily half of this thing felt to me like it was just all Smash. Seemingly, you turn around and there's another new character for Smash Brothers. So that I am not their target market, so I don't even know what's going on. It looks like Smash Brothers. They showed a little bit of the single player for the 3DS version. That looks really great, but I kind of tuned out for a lot of that.
Yeah, the figures seem pretty cool. It sounds like those are going to be used for more than Smash Brothers as well.
The Amiibos?
Yes.
Yeah, so the next thing is...
just a super strange name, but
Amiibo.
okay.
They're coming out with their NFC-based characters. You might think maybe Skylanders and Disney Infinity. They're going to have some interaction with Super Smash Bros. And eventually Mario Kart 8. And it kind of sounds like ongoing. They're going to start tying that into more games. But they were pretty cagey about how they would tie in.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on there. But
I think they're going to go the opposite direction that Skylanders has. So with Skylanders, it seems like you don't need to necessarily buy a new game, but you do have to buy a bunch of figures.
They do both now.
Yeah. So
you don't have to buy a new Portal, at least.
Yeah. So, but with this, it sounds like they're going to they're going to make figures, but they're also not going to make just one game that they all go in. It's going to be separate games that they can utilize, which is awesome.
Yeah, and I think at the very least, Nintendo has people collect stuff.
Yeah.
So, and they're not blind bags. You
Oh,
want
for
Mario,
sure.
you go buy the Mario figure. So
Yeah,
I think
which I like.
I think for them that works out pretty well. So I'm sure they're going to talk a lot more about that pretty soon.
Mhm.
They showed off Yoshi's Woolly World, which is their Kirby's Yarn with Yoshi, coming
Which
out in
is awesome.
2015. Looks adorable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
What
just
Nintendo does.
Yeah, exactly. They showed off Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, which is coming out of the last Wii Mario Brothers, that side game. I already have that game pre-ordered. That game looks really great. I like when Nintendo makes small, focused puzzle platformer games.
yeah,
And that's exactly what that looks like.
absolutely.
That's what they do so well.
Yep.
They're phenomenal.
They showed off
at it.
Zelda Wii U, which has Link fighting some sort of weird, crazy mecha spider thing.
Which looks fun to me.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
Mecha Spider thing is also a multiplier.
there you go.
Not in games only. Does not work for movies. We've
No.
seen Wild Wild West.
Yeah, we can't. We
Wiki.
don't
We
speak
can
about
wow.
that anymore.
If anything was even close to the spiders in Ninja Blade, I'm cool.
Yeah.
That game looks great. They went out and talked about. I was a really big fan of A Link Between Worlds, the last game they came out with on 3DS, because you didn't have to go dungeon 1, 2, 3, blah blah blah. They're doing the same thing for this game, and it seems like it's a little bit more open world.
Yeah.
So, man, I really hope that game turns out well.
That sounds awesome because
I want that.
I want that, and B, I say I have a love-hate relationship with the Zelda fan base because the real hardcore Zelda fan base, Zelda can do no wrong.
Yeah.
And I hate to break it to that fan base, but there have been bad Zelda games.
Yeah, like all of the DS ones.
Yeah. And something like this is the sort of thing that, and as much as I would love a bigger shakeup, I will still always rally behind my idea of I want a neo-futuristic Zelda game.
Yeah,
That's what I want.
I don't think that's going to happen for a long
don't-
time. I also
I don't
think
think it
people
is
need
either.
to calm down about the Zelda concept trailer that came out for the Wii U a couple of years ago. That's not happening. That game's
No, it's
never
not.
getting made. That's just like the same people that are complaining, why didn't we come out with Final Fantasy VII on PS3? They had that trailer. That's a concept demo. Shut up.
Yeah.
Bayonetta 2 made an appearance there, surprisingly. The box contains Bayonetta 1 as well. They're
Kind of has to.
not really.
No.
They could ignore that game, which
They could.
don't know
but,
how they got the rights to put that on the Wii U, but
Yeah.
okay. Bayonetta
now
1
that
will
they
be 60 frames per second. They'll make it more HD, I guess, and have dual audio for the first time. That game, most people forget, was only available in English in all territories, and then they
Oh, that's
subtitled
weird.
it. So now we'll have Japanese audio as well, which will prove to be crazy and fantastic, I'm sure.
Nice.
Bayonetta 2 now features online co-op. The other player plays as Jean. So, great. You're just telling me more things about Bayonetta that I want.
Yeah. Now, do you think this acquisition of Bayonetta 1 on the Wii U, do you think this is just going to be like, all right, we're going to make 3 and 4 and 5 on the Wii U? You don't think so?
No, I can tell you someone will bring this back up if they ever come out with Bayonetta 3.
Uh-huh.
They are 100% done with Bayonetta because people will not shut the hell up and stop port begging on Twitter with the director. They're like,
Really?
okay, I'll buy that game when it comes out on PS4. And he's like, well, then you won't buy it because it's not coming out. So I think this dude is going to take a break from video games after this.
Yeah, the internet did wrong.
Yeah, the internet did wrong against... You want to play Bayonetta 2? Buy a Wii U and shut the hell up. That's what I'm doing.
And guess what? He just got me to spend $300.
Yep.
Good for him.
Moving on, they showed more gameplay footage of Hyrule Warriors coming out September 26, 2014. That game keeps looking more interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not a Dynasty Warriors fan, but I would play that one, I think. They showed off Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, which is the sequel to the DS launch game, Kirby's Canvas Curse.
Oh, okay.
Where now it's kind of... it's the same thing. You draw a little rainbow paths on the screen, and Kirby rolls automatically.
Nice.
But now it looks like it's claymation instead of this kind of felty,
yarn
thing.
That's going to be cool. Then the sequel is going to be oil paints.
Great. I'll buy that too. So that's one
Kirby,
game.
the Bob Ross edition.
Yeah. That's a game I'm really looking forward to on Wii U. I think that's going to turn out pretty well. They showed Xenoblade Chronicles Cross, also not X, also not 10. Thanks, guys. Coming in 2015, also not a sequel to Xenoblade Chronicles.
Oh, good.
I don't know what's going on anymore. But that game will be great. I'll buy it. I'll enjoy it. Probably won't finish it like Xenoblade either, because the game is forever long.
I bought my copy of Xenoblade for $60. Never played it and turned around and sold it for $90. So
well, you made out of it.
Yeah, I was like, I'm never gonna play this.
Wait, $90? Mine's still sealed.
Yeah. Oh, you probably
Yours
get a
is still sealed.
You should go sell that.
They showed off Mario Maker. You can make Mario games.
I'm way too excited about that. That looks so cool.
What I'm really excited about is, in every game where you get to make something, everybody always starts out with 1-1. When you're making your own Mario game, what do you start off with?
1-1.
You can't. Everyone's made. You're literally making Mario then.
I would try. Honestly, I would probably recreate a bunch of Mario 3 levels personally. Maybe I would start there.
Except for those devilish auto-scrolling ones.
No, I'd still keep those.
Oof.
Some jerk.
Rough. So that game's interesting, but Nintendo's not really talking a lot about it now, so I think it's kind of a ways out, and they're still trying to figure out how they make that game.
Yeah, I love the concept, though. Like, you can build the level in the traditional style, and you have all these blocks and pieces, so it's really, I guarantee you that's super easy for them to parse. That giant screen, just go cell by cell and figure out what's there. Or isn't there. And if you can't tell, I did some coding this weekend. And then just spit that out somehow that both versions of the game can read it. You got the original version and the new Super Mario Brothers version.
So the only thing that I hope they do that a lot of games have figured out recently is you have to have the creator finish the level before they can publish it. That has to be a requirement. Trials found that out day one. That was a really good choice. This game needs to do that too. Because people are going to make crazy, insane Mario levels like they do with Super Mario World. Please make them finish it before they publish it. Please, please.
Absolutely.
They also showed off Splatoon, which is a color-based 4v4 multiplayer online game, which is kind of coming out as the most talked about and most loved game out of this E3.
Looks adorable.
People are saying it's actually a really solid multiplayer game.
Nice.
Like, sure, it's not violent, like, you're not playing Call of Duty, but it's... So basically the whole idea is whoever captures the most ground with their color at the end of the match wins.
Nice.
And then you're like these squid people, you move faster on your own color, you can kind of dive into your own color and pop back out somewhere else. That game... I think if they can sell that game, I think that game's going to be pretty big for the Wii U.
Yeah, especially amongst the younger set that can't convince their parents to get them Call of Duty.
Yeah, and don't want to play Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare.
Who doesn't want to play that game, though?
I might buy it for PS4 when it comes out.
I'm totally buying it for PS4 when it comes out.
Yeah. And then they show off more Smash Brothers, which I don't know what's going on anymore.
Some sort of tournament. It's a very foreign, like, I can understand fighting games, like, the culture and everything, usually.
Yeah.
You put me in Smash Brothers, I'm lost.
I just know there's no tripping anymore.
Which is good.
Game.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to kind of our last stuff here, the miscellaneous stuff. Square Enix announced Final Fantasy Type 0 HD coming to PS4 and Xbox One. I don't know what life is anymore.
Oh, I thought that was something completely different when I read that.
No,
I thought it was almost like an R-type game.
No, that'd be great.
That would be awesome.
So for people that don't know this is a game that came out in Japan on PSP originally.
Yep.
And they were saying it was going to come out over here for the longest time. And now I know what the Hannah is upset about. It's not coming out on the Vita.
I'm gonna have to go Viking on them,
because
man.
it's not gonna sell. Let's
It's
all be
not
honest
gonna
about
sell.
it. Here.
It's really not.
That game isn't gonna sell, and once Square pulls out of a handheld, we might start having problems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
They're also coming out with Final Fantasy Agito coming out for iOS and Android. Didn't see that coming either.
What is this? What is Agito? I don't think I've heard of this.
It was a cell phone game from about the time when Type 0 came out. The two tie together.
Okay.
I have no idea. I didn't think this game would ever come out over here, so I know virtually nothing about it. Another game I know virtually nothing about is Itagaki's Devil's Third, which is now a Wii U exclusive.
Well, I thought Itagaki was out.
No, remember they were making that game for a while, and then they were like, I don't know, we're working on it, and now it's a Wii U exclusive, and there's samurais, there's third-person and first-person shooting. I don't know what this thing is. I don't understand anymore.
It just belongs on the Wii U, so...
Yeah, all of that is just so confusing.
It's just Itagaki on the Wii U, like that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I don't.
That's money.
Yeah, it must be like Bayonetta. They're somehow funding that game.
Yeah.
Well, Nintendo's trying to be hardcore. Wait till we get a black one.
Yeah. Star Fox Wii U they kind of announced.
Yeah.
So I don't know anything about that.
Apparently, you play it like this.
Great.
Yeah. So no.
That.
Yeah.
Capcom confirms Street Fighter V is in development. Seems a little soon for that, but
right.
Does it though?
Yoshinori Ono came out and said, it's not play to win, so see you later.
Okay. All right, so it seems a little soon for
I should say it is too
5,
soon for that.
5. But the actual Street Fighter 4 game came out. What's 2014? Last time I worked video game retail was late 09. It's been 5 years. Yeah. It was out when I was working retail.
No, that doesn't count because they just released different versions of the same game.
Yeah, Ultra just came out.
It did.
I came out with last year.
I don't know. I tend to look at those and go, yeah, the hardcore fans are going to buy it. Nobody else is going to buy that.
Right.
No, because this is going to be Street Fighter V, whatever VX would have been Alpha Plus, Cross, Hexen, whatever. Street Fighter 4.
Zerd.
Yeah, I think this is a little too soon because people who played Street Fighter 4 and people that bought it and didn't play it that much aren't going to buy and play this one.
Yeah, that's true.
And I brought that and arcade.
Oh, you fool. Swery's DS4 is still coming, or D4 is coming this year, which I'm super excited about because I need more Swery games in my life. Also now features non-Kinect controls because I guess he had to, probably. And that was a Kinect-only game before. So, interesting. Alienware will launch a Steam OS-less Steam box this holiday. So for $550, it's going to run Windows, ships with a 360 controller, and also available as a dongle that supports 4 360 controllers, which I hate to tell them is just a USB hub. And they say it will run all games at 1080p 60 frames per second. All games. You have a game that runs on Windows, it will run it.
So I'm going to raise my hand here. Can this technically be a Steam box without Steam OS?
No. That's why they're not really calling it a Steam box. They're just saying, hey, we're making a tiny PC. Also, it'll run Steam OS.
Yeah. That seems right.
It'll be a Steam box eventually. Steam box Junior.
It'll be the Steam box / firmware update.
Yeah. Actually, I think $550 is a pretty okay price for that.
That's a solid price for that.
I don't think. Well, I mean, just parts alone, I think you couldn't build that for $550.
Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, maybe without Windows, you could get pretty close to $550. But if it comes with Windows on it,
that's impressive.
That's a pretty good deal.
Did they say what version of Windows? It'll probably be 8.
It'll be 8.1, I'm sure.
Yeah.
CE.4.
Yeah.
3.1.
NT4.
Yeah.
That's right. Millennium Edition.
Eidos also announced a sequel to Lara Croft and the Guardian of Light called the Temple of Osiris.
I saw this. I was really pumped for that.
The Guardian of Light is one of the sort of the best kept XBLA and PC secrets.
Yeah.
If anyone has somebody who'd like to play a top-down puzzle game, you should play that. It's so good. This one is now 4-player. I'm so excited. Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright launches August 29th this year. Heard that game is kind of a little okay, so yeah, I'll still buy it. I like both of those series.
It's like one of those games where it's like, oh man, even if this is bad, it's both of them. You can't not.
It's chocolate and peanut butter.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yep. Doing your part.
And last but not least that I have written down because nobody's talking about this game, Rollers of the Realm comes out this holiday. It's a pinball RPG coming out for PS4, PS Vita, and PC. Enemies attack your flippers. You level up your boards. This thing is insane. I must have it.
It might kill if it's anywhere near as good as Williams' collection. It might kill.
It probably won't be, but it's gonna be dumb, and I'm gonna love it.
If it ends up being fun, yeah, it'll kill me.
Yeah, no, if it's on Vita, I mean, I'm practically required by law to buy it.
Yeah. So I'm sure we missed something here in this giant list. Anything that you guys saw that we forgot to talk about here? Oh, they released a teaser trailer, that I have not yet watched. I'm going to wait for the QuakeCon full trailer.
Yeah, that's, I mean, like, out of anything I got out of E3, I am super excited for QuakeCon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm super excited for next year's E3.
Yeah. I'm actually a little bummed about QuakeCon this year. Since Carmack's no longer at id, we don't get one of his great
technical keynotes.
I love those.
I guess we don't get any plan files anymore either.
Yeah. Right?
Bummer.
Man.
So let's talk about how we felt about this year's E3. I'm not necessarily too concerned about crowning a victor because that I don't like that much. But let's start with you, Knobs.
Because we're the authority.
What do you think about E3 2014?
You know what? I thought it was good. It's what you want to see at E3. It was solid across the board. Just you got to see a ton of games.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like dumb stuff to get excited for. Like 1806? Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, I will buy that. What was the one survival horror game that they released? Evil Within?
Yep.
That they talked about?
Oh, yeah,
it's
they
another
showed some
one.
of that, yeah.
Yeah, that's, from what I'm hearing, that's not going well.
Yeah, it still hasn't
that game looks terrifying, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that, I mean, that's, the things that happen in that game is the reason why games like Eternal Darkness were so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd give that one a pass till it's out.
Yeah, for sure.
The Blaze and Egg Den, I don't know. But, I don't know, there's a lot of stuff across the board. I was glad to see Microsoft actually showed off some games.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Microsoft, if I had to say, like, somebody won E3, they had the most solid, consistent press conference of everybody.
Yep.
Well, it's one that stuck on point the whole time.
Yeah, they were really on message this year, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah, what else for you about E3, Hannah?
Super excited about Phantom Dust. That's one of those game announcements that you don't get every year. It's one of those game announcements that is very exciting because it's such an obscure little nugget in the back catalog of the original Xbox that I thought more people knew about that game. I honestly believe more people knew about that game, and I had so many people on Twitter like, why are you so excited about this?
Yeah.
I only knew about it because Boston kept needling me to pick it up.
Yep.
I'll send you a copy, man.
Yeah.
I think I have 2 around here somewhere. I would not doubt it.
But that was one of the releases that came out of left field that I didn't see them talking about that at all. On a short list of games I thought I'd never hear at E3, Phantom Dust would have been right at the top.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's why it was such an
exciting with Grim Fandango.
Yeah, that's another one.
Oh, and then when that happened, when they were showing the letters, like, I was like, no, they're not gonna.
Yeah.
Are they? Okay. And hopefully it sounds like Tim Schafer was pretty cautious with the way he approached this.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll come out on PC eventually too.
Yeah.
The other big thing for me, honestly, was the Halo Master Chief Collection. I don't know what switch that flipped inside of me, but like I got super pumped for Halo.
I have it.
I gotta get that game. As far as Sony's press conference, I'm really excited for Grim Fandango. Magica 2 looked really, just that commercial sold me on it
Yeah, they
alone.
really nailed the humor.
I was really bummed about the lack of anything Vita. I didn't want to believe that they're going to try and sort of kill that as its own system, but that seems to be the case.
Yeah, they talked a little bit more about it, sort of off conference, and saying like we're really using it as an extension of your current system, so the PlayStation TV and your PS4.
Yeah, so
Vita's gonna be one of those things. 5-10 years down the road, you're like, man, that thing was really awesome. Now I can't find one anywhere.
Yep.
Yeah. And Nintendo had a surprisingly strong showing. I had no hope for them.
Yeah.
Honestly, I had nothing. I was like, they're going to announce some stuff, and I'm not going to really care. But hey, awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. More Smash Brothers. Zelda looks great. Bayonetta.
Yeah.
And the other thing from the Sony conference, that infamous DLC.
Mm-hmm.
Give me more Neon.
Super cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Especially her powers, because I'm sure they're going to be slightly different.
Yeah.
And you're going to have that sniper level accuracy that she's got.
Yeah.
But a lot of the big games, honestly, this felt like E3 2015 because everything's coming out in 2015.
Yeah, for me, that's kind of the thing I took away is, bless you.
Sorry.
The thing I took away is, I think a lot of people are upset about things getting pushed back, but it's really hard to develop for new consoles. I think last generation showed us that pretty clearly. So I think when people are like, yeah, look, we just need a year. Sorry, we're going to keep putting out. That's why Sony and Microsoft are leaning on indie games so much to kind of try and... I'm sure they're seeing it this way. I'm not necessarily seeing it as kind of filling the gap. But I was happy to see both companies promoting those indie games, the ones that we really love a lot more. I'm excited to see them teasing a lot of stuff coming in 2015, trying to give more reasons to say, like, yeah, there's stuff coming out this year, and then there's a lot of stuff coming out next year.
Yeah.
I think it was a really solid. E3. I think
very much so.
I think a lot of publishers, and I think the big three, or I should say Sony and Nintendo, or Sony and Microsoft, are probably going to take a look at what Nintendo did with their Treehouse streams this year, and probably try and replicate that next year, because that was a really great idea. For anybody that didn't watch them, Nintendo was streaming new games for like 8 hours a day for the entirety of E3. And there was a collection of people, and they were just playing the games.
Just fantastic.
That included like the new Xenoblade game. They just played it for a bunch. They played a bunch of Smash Brothers, played a bunch of that new Toad game. They were just sitting there and themselves showing a considerable amount of the game. And I think if if Microsoft and Sony would have done that, I would have eaten that up too.
Absolutely.
So hopefully they follow that lead.
Yeah. Nintendo is going down a road that I kind of like now. They seem to be coming back into their own after the stumble with the initial Wii U launch, which is really good to see. I mean, everyone of our generation grew up with Nintendo, and as much as they're sort of not necessarily a part of our daily lives anymore, as at least for me, kids come in the picture, I'm sure that will change.
Yeah.
And it would be a shame for me to raise a kid in a world where Nintendo didn't exist.
Yeah, exactly. So that was E3 2014. We've been recording forever, so we gotta go.
Yeah. I do have one announcement before we go though. We actually have a winner for TVGP Game Club. Like, it didn't tie this time.
Lay it on us.
We're playing Brutal Legend.
What? All right.
We're playing Brutal Legend.
I'll play some Brutal Legend.
Yeah.
That sounds okay.
It's going to be great. That's going to be the longest recap ever, because I'm going to go through every song.
Yeah. Also, the Final Fantasy V 4-Job Fiesta started yesterday on Saturday, if you're listening to it on Monday. I'm going to stream it this year. I got a really bad pick for my first class, and I got Monk. So prepare for the downward spiral.
Yeah.
I hope I don't get the infamous. I have one class out of the 4 infamous class. Only one person who has played the Forge Out Fiesta has ever gotten the worst 4 classes, and they were unable to finish the game. So hopefully I'm not the second one. So keep an eye out, twitch.tv/Boston Hannon. I'm gonna start streaming that and just let's see how far down the rabbit hole we can go.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for listening. You can find all of our stuff on the right-hand side of the page at tvgp.tv. Knobs would invite you to join the forums, mark yourself on the map. We're playing Brutal Legend. See you all next week. Bye.
Laters.
All right, no titles this time, so thank you very much, everyone, for